In this demonstration, I want to show you how to set up a Data Management Interface, or DMI, to create an input DMI from HEC's DSS. We are going to import local inflows to these two reservoirs from our DSS file. Let's first look at the source data and where we want to send it. Here's our sample DSS file shown in DSS View. The local inflow data is stored as local space in. In Riverware, the data will be imported into the hydrologic inflows slot. In this demo, we'll walk you through all of the steps to create this input DMI. First, let's open the DMI Manager and create a new database DMI. We'll double-click on this to open it and give it a new name. We'll call it Input Local Inflows. It'll be a type input, and we'll need to add a DSS dataset to this DMI. So add new DSS dataset. Now we have a pink row for the DSS dataset. We click on it, and then we can say to configure the DSS file. This is all of the information that Riverware needs to know about the DSS file, like where it's located and how units are specified in that file. So if we go back to that DSS file, we see it's stored as c:temp basin.dss, and the data in there is stored as CFS. So let's put that into our DSS dataset. So in here we go to c:temp basin.dss and select that. Click yes. It's already there. We then want to add a new unit type to this, and we want to say that it's a flow unit, and in the DSS file it's in CFS. So now we have that configured. Click apply. Now in this dataset we want to give it a new name, local inflows, and we want to add a slot selection to that dataset. So we go up to dataset, new slot selection, and that adds another row as a submember of this dataset. We double click that, and we can go in and select which slots we want to import. So we're going to use reservoir. We're going to do both reservoirs, so we're going to click on the wildcard, and we're going to do make this a little smaller, we're going to do the hydrologic inflows. So we're going to use a slot name filter and type in there hydrologic inflow, and click the wildcard button to say that we're going to get all of those. And so now we've selected the slots hydrologic inflow, and we can click on this tree view to show those. Make this a little bigger. We can use the manual or the auto fit selections here to resize these columns. And so in here we now are saying that we're going to input the hydrologic inflows from that DSS file, but now we need to specify all of the part information for that, and that's specified in these green boxes. And so if we go back to our DSS file real quick, we see that CADSWES was part A, the object name was part B, local in was part C, and demo was part F. So let's start at part F and just type in there demo. There's no way we can select that. That was the something we need to type in. Same with CADSWES on part A. And then so those two are specified, and as we do that, they get shown down below in the slots. We can then right click and say for part B what we want that to be. In this case it was the object name. So we right click and say workspace entity and choose object, and it fills it in, and then in the slot row it actually fills in Bartlett and Muddy as the specific object. For part C we want the slot name, and so we're going to choose that. In this case it's going to put in the Riverware slot name, so it's going to be hydrologic inflow. We'll get to that in a second. And then the other piece, part E, is blank, and then for the time step we need to specify what we want. We want to get all of the time steps from the initial time step through the finish time step. So we right click in this row and we say start time step minus end time steps, and we double click on the N, type in there 1. For the ending time step we want to specify that symbolically, so we say finish time step, and it puts that in there, and it fully resolves that this is going to be the finish time step of September 30th, 1996. So now we're most of the way there. Now all we need to do is get this local in First is hydrologic inflow sorted out. And to do that, we need to create a name map. So we're going to click on, let's first apply our changes. We're going to click on the dataset name, go down here to the DSS configuration, and go to the name map manager. And so here we're going to add a new name map where we're going to map the hydrologic inflows to the local inflows. So we click the plus, and then we double click the name map. And then in here, we say we're going to create a new name map, and we need to select what slots we're going to map and then give them a name that it's going to be in the DSS file. So then we click, pause, click to then get to a select slot menu where we can then go in here and say, again, we're going to do Bartlett and Muddy, and we want to do the hydrologic inflow. In this case, I'm going to use the asterisk to wildcard and say hydrologic inflow there. And so now we have those two slots selected, and we then double click over in the name column and type in there local in. And that's it. We're saying that we're going to map these two slots, hydrologic inflow, to the name in the DSS file as being local in. Let's give this a better name too. So we'll call this the basin name map. And we click OK to apply those changes. Then back in our database DMI, we're going to actually select that we want to use that name map. So now it should show up here in this pull down menu, and it does. And once we do that, the upper portion of the dialog is going to fully resolve that name map for the slots and fill in here what the map resolves to. So in this case, it's local space in. And so we're done. We've configured this input DMI, and let's actually click OK, close all these windows, and actually execute this. So we'll go back in here to our object to open it to see that there's nothing in there. I'm going to make this a little smaller, and then I'm going to execute the DMI from the DMI menu, and it fills those values into that hydrologic inflow slot. And so using Riverware's DMI capabilities and the connection to DSS, we've created a name map, a database DMI called input local inflows that we can then bring data directly from DSS into the Riverware slots. Thanks.